I've got a very unique motorcycle here to talk to you guys about. And actually, I've got a friend to help tell us all about it. Come on in, Paul. How you doing, Paul?
What's up, bro?
So this is your...
Wait, let me flex for a second.
So this is your personal, like this is your rider.
Yeah.
You've probably had this for this is one of your oldest bikes.
I've had it quite some time. I built it on the show, one of our shows.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's probably 15 years.
And
maybe.
you've ridden this more than probably any other chopper you have?
more than my Harleys, more than anything. I've had it out west, I've had it in the Rocky Mountains, going away for like a week at a time, just riding every day, yeah.
And it's a pretty reliable bike?
Very.
What engine you have in it?
That's a 96 inch, I think, Pan S&S motor.
So it's not the 124?
No, I've just put that
different
on.
intake.
It's light, you know what I mean? So it really runs good, and I got a 4-speed transmission in here, but I got a primary on there that Baker made.
Oh, it's only a 4-speed?
It's a 4-speed, but Baker came out with the 4-speed, but it's got the long gears, so you'd never really, even when you're in 4th gear, you think you're in high gear on
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Right? You didn't notice, right?
I didn't notice at all, no.
Yeah.
I assumed it was a 5-speed. When you get on a bike, you just kind of keep on shifting until you can't shift anymore.
Exactly.
You don't really count until you think about it.
Exactly.
You built this for yourself, right?
Yeah.
What was the thought process? Why did you do the things you did on this bike? It's kind of got a real classic look to it.
And it's also a swing arm, you know what I mean? It's also a soft tail, so I like the look of a hardtail better.
Right.
But to achieve the look, you mount everything to the swing arm like I did, and you get the same ride as that. But when I did this bike, we unveiled it in Sturgis, and I don't know if you ever heard of Sugar Bear. He's been around, he's probably even older than me, but he builds a certain Springer front end. The way his front ends are, they're 40 out. They're like 1.5 times that. So
really, so we're talking like out here.
Yeah, big, way out there. So I had that on there for a while. It's much lighter. I don't know if you noticed how light it is.
It was very light
when you're riding it.
So the shocks are actually underneath the bike.
Yeah, they're right, just like a regular soft tail.
So a normal person would look at that and be like, oh, it's a hardtail, but then you ride it.
And people that are experienced riders and everything think it's it. They have to go twice. Like I like the King Queen seat and the old school devil tail sissy bar, but these are two separate pieces.
Right.
Because the swing arm has to go up and down.
Because they have to move in.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
So we made it so that it was in two pieces, and it's not too obvious, but
so
this
would actually
level
out.
Stationary, and this will go. It doesn't travel that much, but when it goes up and down,
but if
you don't feel it.
Right. But if you're sitting on there, it looks perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's really cool. I didn't know about that.
Listen, I ride it. I don't really. Like I need to spend some time cleaning the bike up. I got to change the gaskets. The heads are leaking a little bit, so I got a whole gasket. But it's just a matter of getting to it. But you rode it even the way it is. This bike is just like, some bikes are just like a car. You buy a car, and some cars are just like a great car. You know what I mean? And you buy
everything was put together in a really good way, and it just lasts for a long time. You just change the oil every once in a while.
And I don't tighten anything. I don't really. Very rarely does anything come loose on it. Once you ride it for a while and you tighten it up, it stays.
This is solid mounted or a rubber mounted engine?
Solid mount.
Solid mounted.
All my bikes are solid mount and they're all carburetor.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what I've always built.
You always run shorty carbs?
That's pretty much the carburetor to run on most of my bikes. Yeah.
You have a history in the ironwork. Is that where?
Yeah.
The twisted iron. I mean, on the bars, it's kind of a theme.
Yeah,
on this
and
bike?
the wheels too, yeah.
I didn't even notice the wheels.
Yeah, the wheels are twisted too.
You made those wheels?
I didn't make them. I had them made though, with the twist in them. And they're steel wheels. They're not aluminum.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So if they were aluminum, this bike could be even lighter.
Even lighter, yeah.
You ever put it on the scale before?
No.
What do you think it weighs?
Probably 5.5.
That's pretty light.
Maybe 5.
I mean, for a big giant bike like that, it's pretty light. It's lighter than any Harley Davidson out there.
I've had it up to, I don't know what speed that I was up to, but I had it so the front wheels was coming off.
Really?
Yeah.
Like it was
like
you were going that
it's light in the
fast.
front, yeah, and it started coming up a little bit. I said, I better let go of that throttle.
What do you think you were at? 90
over 100? Maybe.
Yeah.
90, maybe 100. You can't go much over that with these bikes. But at 80 miles an hour going down the highway, you're just so, you know what I mean? There's not a shake in the bike, and it's just you're sitting in there, and you could just keep it wide open, pretty much.
So a lot of people think myself included, until I rode this the first time was a couple months ago, I was like, all choppers are uncomfortable. It's not a comfortable ride. It's just a showpiece. And then I rode this bike. And I've ridden other choppers. I've ridden Big Bear choppers, and I've ridden the Mastiff. And I've ridden a bunch of other brands.
Yeah.
I felt kind of the same way about all of them until I rode this bike. And I was like, this bike's really comfortable. You're not reaching out here. You're not reaching up here. You know what I mean? It's just.
Well, I think after so many years of building bikes, and back a ways, I don't know what year, but there was the long Pro Street bikes. They were out there, and everything was your legs stretched out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was the deal. That's always uncomfortable to me. You know what I mean? So after a while, like I'll run on some of my bikes ugly seats, but I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because they're comfortable. Yeah. So you put a nice looking solo seat on there, and you're riding for 6 hours. You know what I mean?
Right.
But and I think I said it before, the seat, the forward controls, and the handlebars make the whole bike.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You need to sit in the bike, elbows,
That's the only three pieces you're actually touching.
Yes.
And if you know what I mean, if it's at the wrong spot, it just doesn't feel right. It feels all goofy, and it could make or break the bike. It could ruin the whole bike by having you think about like when you're driving a car or a bike, if these are sticky.
Yeah.
If you had honey all over these, you know what I mean? You would never want to ride. It'd be gross. It would be disgusting.
Also, the knurled ones. I don't know if you ever see the knurled ones. They look good, but they hurt your hands after a while.
They don't feel good. No, they don't feel good at all.
They're not the coolest looking, but they're comfortable. They
feel nice, yeah.
They're comfortable. Nice, the diameter is good. It's a soft material.
So are you stuck at a job that does not excite you? It doesn't pay enough, and it doesn't fit your lifestyle anymore? Maybe you're tired of the long hours, the extreme stress, and the glass ceiling of where you just don't think you can go up anymore in the job. Maybe you want the freedom to start working remotely or wherever you want and start enjoying your life. And that's where 1010 comes in, and they're the sponsor of this video. It's an online tech boot camp designed for people who want to switch careers. And you need no experience in tech to do it. And we're talking about tech, so these are $60,000 to $80,000 starting pay. These flexible courses let you learn at your own pace, even if you have a full-time job right now or a busy family life. And the best part about this thing is 87% of graduates from this program land a job in tech within 6 months. That is infinitely higher than going to normal college. And if you don't get a job in the tech industry 6 months after graduating, they'll give you your money back. With 1010, you get hands-on experience working on real projects with real companies. And on top of that, professional coaches will help you with building your resume and prepping you to get through interviews. So if you're ready to upgrade your career and make a change, use my code SRK for 30% off of any of their programs. Click the link in the description or scan on this QR code right here for a free career consultation. So everyone wants to know how many people have been impaled with your exhaust.
You know what? I don't, not too many. Generally, if I take a ball, like a Spalding ball, and I
put something on top of it.
Put it on top of it so people
or
won't
like
get
a coconut
hurt.
And you just jam it on there.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you build a lot of different bikes, a lot of different styles. I'm sure a lot of that was what the buyer wanted, or what the trend was at that time. You went with a pretty narrow rear wheel. What was the thought process behind that?
Well, I mean, listen, you could go up to a 240 tire and still have the same ride. Traditional is a 16, so I like to stay with a traditional look. Harley's been 16-inch rear wheels forever. There's a reason for it, you know.
And you could also, if you're in some crazy place doing some big ride and you pop a tire, you could have a chance of getting a replacement tire at a normal dealership.
Yeah.
If you're running a 330 or something ginormous,
you're
not getting anything.
Yeah. And we used to build what people or companies, because we did mostly big corporations. You built the wide tire because there was so much real estate to work with, and it was the look, with the custom frames and I like a traditional bike like this because when I'm going down the road, you're in the 60s. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah,
Nobody's
right.
riding alongside of you that looks like this.
Right, and there's no difference of you right now in 2025 or you in 1968.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
the
you, the
same
bike, and the road. It's carbureted. There's no tech on it at all. There's not even a speedometer.
Sportster tank, you know?
Yeah.
This Sportster tank was cut here. It was stock and then opened up.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah,
So
I
it's a
understand.
little higher
Yeah.
in here. But, you know, it's such a classic Sportster tank.
Yeah.
It's been around forever.
Now I see you went with a kickstart.
Yeah.
Have you ever kickstarted this bike?
No.
I tried it the other day. It
It
was hard.
is like, forget about it.
It was
yeah.
really hard to kickstart.
It's I don't even think I tried it one time and I don't think I even got it to the bottom, and I said, you know.
It was tough.
Yeah.
But this thing fires up really well. Last time we fired it up, it sat, it
just
sat for a week or two, and then we just fired right up, idled perfectly. It was really
yeah,
impressive.
once it warms up a little bit, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it warms up quick. It was warm up in,
Yeah,
what,
you
30,
leave
40
that choke out a little bit. The only thing is, it's you know how the shoemaker never fixes his own shoes.
Yeah, right.
The carburetor float bowl hasn't been right for years. So if I leave the gas on,
Right.
it's a mess, you know.
But all you gotta
and you always forget, so you
Right.
could be in the nicest place and come out
dumping on
no
fuel
gas.
all over the place.
Yeah.
You've been in the industry for a long time, and you've seen trends come and go. Mm-hmm. What's the one trend that you're like, I'm glad it's gone? What's the one trend that you think might be coming up soon?
I'm glad that the wide tire trend's gone. You don't see that too much anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of phasing out.
I never really cared for it. Never had a bike. A 240 was the biggest tire I ever went on a bike.
240 is about what?
It's a good size.
It's pretty big.
It's not crazy. It's not crazy. But the one thing that'll always be is the choppers. They'll always make a full circle. Mm. They'll always make a full circle.
I think they're coming back. I think when the customization makes the bike less rideable and less enjoyable, it's gonna fizzle out. But when you can still ride it and have fun and enjoy it, there's always gonna be some guy who wants to pay the money, look cool, but also enjoy it on the weekends. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, the bobbers are really in now, and I like them. And you know, I plan on building one for myself.
Yeah.
But I always was this kind of long front end. Most of my bikes, and you look, the ones in the back have a fairly long front end. I just like that 60s chopper look, you know what I mean?
It really, when someone's cruising, and you never see it, you almost never see it. When someone's cruising down the road or down the highway on this, your eyes just can't go off of it.
No.
It's really, it is cool looking.
Here's the thing, a chopper like this, right, needs basics. Mm-hmm. You don't need a lot of fabrication.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's not a ton of fabrication on this bike. You know what I mean? Defender, the gas tank, a little bit of work. The front end's just a girder front end. The exhaust was made. I mean, I guess you could put it in a show, but it's not a bike that, you know, everything's chrome and everything's gold plated in this. And it's, if you look at the bike, it's a basic bike, but that's what a chopper is.
Yeah, because the whole concept of a chopper is taking parts off of it.
Originally, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like chopping things down, making it a little less than what all needs to be.
Kind of like the build-off bike.
Right.
That was a chopper.
And then customizing it for your own style. You know, I see it's got the little Paul Senior.
Yeah. Little subtle things like that. Yeah.
Little peace sign.
We talked about building a bike for you, and I think that you rode this bike, you rode that red bike, right?
Yep.
Just the two of them, right?
Yeah.
And this would probably be the most extreme front end. So I'm probably 3/4 of the way through your build.
Okay.
He gave me the liberty to pretty much build what I thought would be suitable to this in a sense, but it's to get basically the same kind of ride and the same kind of look. So when we're going down the road, we look like Easy Rider. Or,
You and me, when we're going down the road,
we're cool.
Cruising around, we got a big old raked out chopper.
Yeah.
Well, we'll take this bike for a spin.
Okay.
And show everyone how it's a very unique bike to ride, and I really enjoy it. So I understand why he keeps it around, and this is his daily. All right, guys, let's do the words of wisdom before we take this bike out for a spin. Psalms 59:16, but I will sing of your strength. I will sing aloud of your steadfast love in the morning. For you have been to me a fortress and a refuge in the days of my distress. I am excited to take this bike for a spin. And of course, when you're riding the Orange County Chopper, the bike that Paul rides, you gotta wear the Orange County Chopper jacket. So that's the first start. That's the first start this morning. Cold start, fired right up. It was on choke for a second, now it runs great. So you might be intimidated by this ginormous front end. It's really not that bad. I have rode this bike before, I just didn't tell anyone about it. But it's been a little while. Now Paul's got this shifter set up that he must have really ginormous thick boots, because I gotta pull my whole leg up just to shift it. The thing about riding an old chopper like this, first of all, it's kickstart, which I do love that. If I was ever gonna build a chopper, I would definitely have to make it kickstart. Now obviously, in terms of motorcycles that can handle, the raked out chopper has got to be, you know, pretty low on the list. But I've ridden a lot of motorcycles and you can still turn. It's not awful, but it's really, really, really fun to ride. The visibility, a lot of people think that, oh, the visibility would be really bad. The visibility is not that bad. The worst thing is my Insta360. It's in the way. The one thing I gotta say about this bike is I've ridden maybe 3, 4, 7 choppers. I gotta say that this one is by far the most comfortable thing I've ever been on. And that's because it's not a rigid. It's got a big, soft, comfortable seat, and it's got a hidden it's a secret soft tail. So when you ride a bike like this, it's like, yeah, you can totally ride. You can do a long trip. You can do a couple 100 miles. It feels really good. The ergonomics are not that different of the way I'm sitting from a Harley with like 12-inch handlebars. My hands are not up here; they're down here. It's a really good sitting position. Now, obviously, you're not going to get very far with this tiny little fuel tank, but that's all right. It's not that bad. I mean, you would think that this thing's, you look at something like this and everything is so ridiculous looking. The giant front wheel and the big raked out front end. You're like, no, there's no way that bike's unrideable. This bike is much rideable than I completely thought it was. And it feels really good. Compare this to my the Major Pain bike. Major Pain bike was awful. Like really, really hard to ride. Compare this to the Miss Geico bike, same thing. Really, really hard to ride. You don't want to be on that for very long. This, you can actually ride this. You can put some miles in that, and Paul does. Even though there's no speedometer, this has been his main bike, like the bike that he rides when he rides for the past, I think, 13 years. And you can tell he really likes it because he takes care of it. I mean, it looks, the thing still looks brand new. I'm sure once you get better at it, you could do a U-turn in less than a cul-de-sac. But I'm still getting used to the old girl. Very impressed with how it runs. I gotta say, there's a lot of guys running choppers and they look very similar, but they ride awful. And my message to them is, it doesn't have to feel awful, because this feels great. Look, I just hit a bump and all the feelings are still in my mouth. I didn't even break a tooth or nothing. I don't even have to go to the chiropractor. Like, it's really hard to beat this. Now I will say the front brake is weak. Not even sure if there's even a brake up there. Yeah, there is there. No. Yeah, there's one rotor. Front brake is weak. I think if you're gonna do a bike, I like the braking power. But hey, you got the rear brake, you know. All you gotta do is keep a little more distance between you and the guy or people around you. My feet are in pretty close to the most perfect position. And then when I throw them up to these highway pegs, which could also double as crash bars, I would guess, it feels pretty great. Alright guys, that wraps it up. Remember, it is not what you're riding, but where you're going. Also, if you want to see more adventures with me and my buddy Paul Sr., watch this video right here.